Kenny Atkinson, welcome to Cleveland.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
What enticed you the most about this particular opportunity?
It always starts with the players. The NBA, the NBA starts with the players. Incredible roster that Kobe and his group have built. I obviously have some history with some of the players on the roster. I've competed with competed against a lot of the players here, and being with different teams, and then the culture that you in this league long enough, which organizations are kind of building it the right way, and this is one of them, and it's one of a handful of them. So I knew if I ever get an opportunity to go for this job, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be aggressive. So just like pinching myself, like, I'm really here. It's real. Part of a team on the rise, which is pretty cool.
You mentioned the culture that you're in some ways inheriting that's already,
Yeah.
those building blocks are already there.
Yeah.
The roster. And you've talked so much about how important it is to talk to every player as you kind of develop the identity of the team. But do you already have a sense for what you do want to start out with the identity of this team to be?
Yes, it starts with the defense. Like, do not lose a defensive identity. Seventh in defensive efficiency this past year. So we got all the pieces. Obviously starts with Evan and JA, kind of patrolling the lane, and they're two of the best in the league. And then we got really good perimeter defenders. So we're keeping that identity, and then making tweaks offensively. What can we tweak there? What can we get a little better? Like you said in the beginning, like, this isn't some like remake. Like, all of a sudden you have to come in here, change everything, keep the base. A lot of the things that are already doing well, and then start. Where can we start making gains on the margins? And that's tactically. That's player development. That's in the performance room, like all the things around the organization. Just keep getting better. The results will come. I just have that philosophy.
Like you said, while it's not something where it's an overhaul here, one of the words that Kobe Altman continually used with you was innovative.
Yeah.
Innovative approach. And you've learned from also some great coaches, I think, of like Mike D'Antoni, who thought outside the box, right? What are you already kind of thinking about in terms of how you can bring that outside the box or innovative approach to this team?
Yeah. Well, it starts with, having a front office that buys into that philosophy, right? Like, because it's got to be unified, kind of down the line. So you get the front office that embraces that. Then you bring in a coaching staff with that similar philosophy, and then I think you can, it trickles down to the players, and I think sometimes the next step is being innovative, taking risks, doing something different defensively at the end of the game, where maybe, you play man-to-man the whole game, boom, you go to a zone, or you go to a half-court trap, or and same thing on the offensive side, figuring out how to be a little more creative in creating best opportunities for your players. I am a huge analytics person. I study them hard. I kind of understand, and that's not only from a team sense, but also from an individual player sense. Like, how can we get this guy better in a certain area? See his numbers. Hey, whatever, rim finishing or corner 3-point percentage. How do we get that better from a player development standpoint? Knowing that that's going to help the team get better. And then from a team concept, like, okay, stylistically, are we seeking the high-value shots? Are we defending the high-value shots? So I think there's so many moving pieces. You know how this is. There's so many pieces of the pie that you got to connect. And I think that's a strength of mine, connecting all those areas and then getting it to the whole and getting the chemistry right. And I think that's, again, another way you take the next step.
You've been around so many great basketball minds. We mentioned Mike D'Antoni already, learning from Mike Budenholzer, being the head coach of the Nets.
Forgot about Bud,
And then, Ty Lue and Steve Kerr. But when you think about, how are you a different guy walking in today, taking over as head coach of the Cavs, than you were taking over as head coach of the Nets, 8 years ago now?
Yeah, and I'm glad I've had that kind of what do they say, when you travel you improve, right? Like like traveling, this kind of range of experiences, like that's really, and my family we love the adventure part of the NBA. You say, well, you moved around a lot. Well, I've moved around a lot, but it's been enriching experiences from a basketball standpoint, but also the culture piece. And I take that all the way back to my European kind of background as a player and coach. Like I've seen a lot of different ways of doing it. Now to have this opportunity to use all those kind of tools in the toolbox to help our players get better, B, that the team get better, and organizationally, right? Can there's things culturally I've seen that could help, and really looking forward to collaborating with the front office on that type of stuff too.
You had the opportunity to already coach Karis LeVert, Jared Allen. How much did that influence your decision not only to come here, but what are your feelings surrounding getting to coach them again at a different stage in both of your careers, both as a coach and them as players?
We all have favorites, right? My mom had favorites. Those guys are in the favorite category. 17 years in the NBA, incredible. You've been around them, incredibly human, incredible competitors, incredible basketball, but incredible families. And that gives you kind of a comfort level, right? Like coming into the situation, you have people you feel comfortable with. That being said, they're favorites, but they know I'm going to coach them hard, and I'm going to help them get to the next level. But it's another part of the reason I'm so excited about this job, coaching those guys again.
Some former players have described you as really detail-oriented, tough, intense, also caring, and a coach that allows you to make mistakes and grow and learn from those mistakes. How do you describe Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah, I think the best advice I ever got was my high school coach told me, if you're going to do this, you got to be yourself, like be authentic. And I know that sounds like, well, yeah, be authentic, but that's, again, and you've had all these influences. Are you going to be Mike Budenholzer? Are you going to be Steve Kerr? I'm not Steve Kerr. I'm not Ty Lue, right? And so being your authentic self with all that. But it's all those things. But I'm not going to just all of a sudden not being an intense coach or coach guys hard or get away from my player development background. I'm just like almost double down on my strengths, and then with the help of like Kobe, and I told those guys in there, like, I want to be coached too, right? I want feedback. I want feedback from the players, and that's where this can shift a bit. Like, how is this? Because the best teams are player led at the end of the day. So how are we shifting that where, maybe in Brooklyn it was kind of me kind of setting the tone most days. It's like, man, you guys, let's shift this where you guys are getting more and more ownership, and I can maybe kind of step back each day. And I saw that with Steve Kerr. That was his brilliant kind of strategy. He was willing, even a guy with 9 championships, was willing to step back, put the players forward, put them first, and give them real say in the direction of the team.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, Kenny, transition me to then Donovan Mitchell, who you had to prepare against for so many years, including preparing against him in the playoffs, which is a different beast in the regular season. Yeah. Now you get to prepare alongside him, using that guidance that Steve Kerr, for example, helped you with. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, he's already asked for film on like how my Brooklyn teams. Hey, I want game 4. The play. Like this guy is like, So you're obviously dealing with someone who's super passionate. He's detailed. He's going to do his homework. So that's great for me, right? Like that challenge where we're going to be partnering in this thing. We're gonna, hey, I want to run delay backside, and he's going to say, well, maybe we go delay strong side, and that'd be better. I'm like, if I believe in it and it makes sense, like, boom, we can go in that direction. So we're going to have we've already started the conversation, like 2-hour lunch. We're talking, we got the salt and pepper shaker and out there and putting people in position, and I'm going to value his opinion on the roster too. How can we get J.A. in the best position? How can we get Evan? Where should we, on this play, where do we put Evan? What's the spacing look like? That's been my evolution as a coach. I'm going to really lean on him as a partner in this.
Kenny, thank you so much for taking the time.
Awesome.
We also know you've got busy things with being an assistant coach for the French national team.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate it.
I'm on a flight to Paris tonight at 9, so you know, looking forward to get back here and beginning this journey. So I'm really excited.
I'll be here before we know it.
All right.